Welcome to Make Lemonade. My name is John Jimenez, and you are on today's podcast, Make Lemonade. So let's get started. Welcome again to Make Lemonade. My name is John Jimenez, and today you are on Make Lemonade podcast. Guys, this is our first podcast, and I want to welcome you if this is your first time as well listening to us. And I recommend that you keep on engaging and keep on motivated, because that's what we're here for. We're here to share stories, to talk to you, and for you to talk to us and to really share your story and what you want to talk about, because pretty much we just talk about anything and everything and that we possibly can, but mainly we're focused on telling people's story and just hearing the different aspects and different cultures and all this stuff that makes you unique and telling your story. And the reason why we're called Make Lemonade, and this is where we get our base from, is because we go off this metaphor that goes, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And that's basically what Make Lemonade is all about. So we're here to encourage you, motivate you, and for you to keep on going and giving you amazing stories that you can just listen to in your car, wherever you're going. If you're going for a run, this is what you can listen to, get motivated, and just excited to get big time information, because we're here to help people and then have those people help other people and just make it a circle of life per se. And today you got it. The theme song of today was Attitude. Attitude, what we're talking about today. And today, the reason why we're talking about attitude is because it's one thing that has been on my heart. And I want to talk about attitude. And this is the one main thing that I think a lot of people sometimes forget. You know, we have it in the beginning. We have it when we start. We want to do something, but then we lose our attitude. And another ways that you know this is you lose your emotion, or you lose your confidence, and you lose, your track, your vision, because attitude is gone. So that's what we want to talk about today, and it's been on my heart to talk to you about. And as the first podcast, I want to talk to you about attitude, because I want to kick it off with an encouragement podcast that I can talk to you. And of course, before I start, let me just let you know that we are going to be sending messages and informing you on the podcast that we're having beforehand. And of course, we're going to be surprising some people with sharing their stories and letting you know who's going to come up next. And of course, you are more than welcome to join this podcast and be a part of Make Lemonade podcast by telling your story. So always send us a message, contact us, and we will put you on this podcast as fast as you DM us. So let's get right to it. So today we want to talk about attitude. Attitude for me is one of the most, if not the best part of your career, your life. I mean, an overall attitude. And I'm not talking about the attitude where, you give people attitude because, you don't like them or they're rude to you and they have an ugly attitude. No. I'm not talking about that attitude. The attitude that I'm talking about today is the attitude that, per se, a lion has. And the reason why I'm going to talk about a lion today, because it's a great example of what attitude is. Now, if you take a look at a lion, you picture, what's the first thing that you get to your mind? It comes to your mind. And right now I can know that either if you're, this will tell you how old you are, but if you remember The Lion King, that will describe your age. But not only that, but that is a great example that probably you're thinking about. The second thing is, a king. He's the king of the jungle. Second thing, he's more powerful. He's strong. He has sharp teeth. He has sharp claws. He has hair around his face. I mean, you can name all these things that come to your mind about a lion, So my thinking always goes onto why. Why is something, right? That's a simple question. And I like making things simple. I don't like getting complicated, because this is what I believe. And it's a little something I'm going to give you a little tip. If you make things simple in the beginning, if you make things simple to understand, the complicated comes from studying. And that's the main point. That's for me. I rather do the hard work in the beginning, all the complicated stuff, so that it will be simple for me to understand and when the process is going. So if you don't understand that, don't worry, you will. I will talk about that in a podcast later on. But right now, I just want to focus on attitude. So let's get back to the conversation. So attitude, okay, lion. This is what I want you to picture. Attitude, one side, lion in the middle, and then it's going to equal what I want to talk to you about what attitude is. Take a lion, for example. Now, I've asked you the question, what do you think when the word lion comes to you? Now, we've seen many movies. We've seen, about what a lion can do. So, in the aspects of this, a lion is a king, right? Per se, of the jungle. When I was looking into a lion and really trying to see what a lion does, it's really interesting what a lion does. So what they do, I just said that 3 times. What a lion does is this. The lion is the person who patrols his area. That means that he will patrol his section. Let's say he has, for example, let's get it into like a block, right? If his block is like 20 blocks, he's going to go around all those 20 blocks, all around, like a square, right? Let's just pretend it's like a square, a block, right? He's going to go all around the square and then come back to where his kids and wife is, per se, and come back, hang out with them, and then leave again and go and check his surroundings, right? Attitude. Talking about attitude. Now, when a lion is faced with whether it be a hyena, whether it be an elephant, whether it be with animals per se that are smarter than he is, there's a difference between the respect that they have for him and the way that he stands and performs himself. Now, check this out. Take, for example, an elephant. An elephant is smarter than a lion. But yet, what comes to mind when he sees a lion is food. He will become lunch. So what does he do? He respects the lion enough to run away, to not mess with them. So what is here that this big, huge, strong muscle can literally run over the lion, but yet doesn't? Because the lion presents himself with attitude. And what is this attitude the lion presents? He presents himself with the attitude that he is the one who can take an elephant down, who powerful claws can climb and tear skin apart. He looks at himself with a position to rule and to be territorial, and that nothing that comes his way will faze him. Because he can overpower it, he can take it down, he has the speed, he has the strength, he has the agility, he knows who he is. And that's what gives him his attitude. Now, here we go. How does this portray to you, the person, human, species, versus a lion? This is when I talk about attitude. Here is where attitude comes into play with who we are. When I talk about attitude, I'm telling you, attitude is everything. That means that the way that you present yourself, the way you think of yourself, and the way that you act would determine how people view you, would determine how people see you, which is almost the same thing. So we determine what people view you as, we determine how people see you, and we determine how people respect you. Now, what's the difference between see and view, right? Well, when people view you from a standpoint, they see you for who you are, how you stand. And, believe it or not, what you think of yourself will literally, I'm not even joking, will literally present itself on the way that you dress, on the way that you walk, on the way that you write, if you believe me or not. Now, I don't know if you ever, let me give you an example so you can, be like, you're right. Let me give you an example. If you ever, two scenarios. If you written something on a document, you're writing something, and you forget how to spell that word, and you're trying to write the word across without making a mistake, because you can't make a mistake, your words or your lettering will be literally messy. But when you know, for example, spelling your name or spelling something that you know how to spell, you spell it with ease, quicks, and with not double thinking yourself, right? So attitude presents himself in the way people view you, from the way you stand, from the way you perform yourself. And when people see you for who you are, they brings out respect, because the way you let people see you and view you and respect you will determine a lot. Now, I don't mean this. I don't mean go and tell people, hey, this is what you're going to respect me as. No. You're not going to tell people to do something, because how would you like somebody to tell you to do something, right? We don't like that. But attitude is everything. The way you see things, the way you view things, and the way you respect things determine a lot. So, for example, in your work or in school, if you start thinking of yourself the way other people think of you, for example, if you go somewhere and there's a lot of people who are smart, and you go in that place and your attitude automatically goes down, and because everyone is smarter than you, and you're like, oh man, I'm just dumb. That word dumb or the word stupid comes into your mind, you will automatically, your grades will start decreasing, will start going down, because your attitude of the way you think of yourself will literally determine your grades, how you walk in there, how you talk in there. Even if you make conversation or ask questions, will determine that. So attitude is everything. The way you see yourself, again, will determine the way you are and the way people view you. Okay? Now, people, of course, everyone judges a book for their cover. And I mean, people who say no right now are lying, because when you see somebody, automatically you say, if they're dressed correctly, if they're, not dressed, if they're dressed, casual, and they have a business suit, you might automatically come to mind, oh, look, respectful. Everything's ironed, everything's in place, every hair's combed. You're like, oh, look at this, very nice and clean, right? But if a person comes in with torn shorts and torn jeans, your view of that person is kind of like, oh, okay, it's a little different. So what I'm trying to say here is not dress a certain way, but what I'm trying to say is your attitude is everything, determining the way you act, the way you speak, and the way you dress. Believe it or not, when people see the way you dress will determine a lot. So the way you want to be viewed, the way you want to be addressed, determines a lot on how you dressed, the way you speak, the way you talk, everything. So attitude is everything. So when you go somewhere, anywhere, whether it be your work, whether it be school, whether it be, a birthday party, remember this: attitude is everything. Your attitude is everything. And along with that, guys, I want to leave you with, present yourself to be a person of not only just success, but present yourself a person of kindness, grace, mercy, a person who's strong, who's intelligent, who is growing every time. Because as humans, I believe my attitude towards growing and learning is an unstoppable process. You should always be learning. You should always be growing. And that also helps you grow in your attitude, because the more you know, the more things you will be able to be fooled by, because you know those things. So no matter where you are at, always keep your attitude up. And that's something that I myself had to go within the process of, because, to a certain point, I'm giving you an example right now. I was working and I was failing at the job. Okay. And get this, I mean, there's few things, and and I'm not speaking of this like, being cocky, but everything that I do, I make sure that I do it 110%. So this that I was doing 110%, but I was doing horribly, right? And what was happening was that the people in charge, or the people who were, the managing people, were kind of looking at me as non-workers. I mean, a poor worker, because I was doing poorly, not in my, attendance, or not in my, work, or how I presented myself, but it was the only thing that was poorly was that what I was doing, I was not getting. I was not remembering it. So they were repeating and repeating, and for some reason, I don't know for what reason, it was still not sticking. I mean, I kid you not, I was writing notes. I was, listening to what they were saying. I was doing everything that I could possibly, but it wasn't sticking. And when I started noticing that it was my attitude towards the example that I was giving, that I was thinking of myself not smart. I was thinking of myself not capable. And this was coming by their overpowering words of like, are you, you having trouble like listening? Are you having trouble this? Everything that was coming out of their mouth was just negative. Everything negative, excuse me. And it made me feel like if I didn't have no potential. It made me feel like useless, like I was educated. No, I didn't have that. I couldn't do anything. Like, I kid you not, everything was just so, like if I was just starting school, I didn't know anything. Like, I never went to school. But attitude was everything. And I noticed that it wasn't the way that I was looking at myself. It was the way that they were looking at me that was, mirroring myself. And for example, and what I'm saying with that is that I was listening to what they were saying, and that's what I was becoming. Instead of listening to my own self and saying, you are smart, you are capable of doing this because you are educated, you know how to do these things, and every day challenge myself to do better. And the moment that I started doing that, things started getting better. I started, doing better on the assignments. I started, and talking to people. I mean, it was no gun. How can I say? It was no problem, big thing that was happening. But the issue was that it was just the part of attitude. What did I believe in myself? And that left me the moment I let people's mouth or words portray mine or become my words. And it didn't become my words physically, like me speaking it, but it became my words mentally. And that is more powerful than you speaking words. Whatever you think of yourself first before you speak it is what becomes real. So, attitude is everything. The moment that you let other people's voices and the wrong voices come into your mind is the moment that you lose. But the moment that you stick to what you believe, and I don't mean stick to being a rebel, I mean stick to knowing that what you're meant to do is what you were meant to do, and believing that you're growing, then that is something like attitude. A lion is never changing. It is always doing what it's supposed to do. Okay? It doesn't let an elephant influence it, because look at the elephant. It has big muscles, so I'm going to work to have bigger muscles than the elephant now. It doesn't let the elephant intimidate it or influence it, but it remembers who he is and what he has. And remember, guys, the biggest thing in your life of attitude and where attitude comes is already inside you. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to be someone else. You were created with everything that you needed. Remember that. You were created with everything that you needed inside of you. So what you need to do is bring it out. And with that comes attitude. Guys, attitude is everything. So I hope this podcast helps you out. I hope you could understand where I was coming from. And really, really, I hope this encouraged you in your life and motivated you in whatever it is right now that you're doing. So, guys, I hope you have a great day. I hope that you are blessed. And best of all, remember that attitude is everything, and keep your attitude high, your kindness up there, and always, always love people no matter what. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Peace out.